Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching our breakfast show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our first topic of discussion for today. And as we noted earlier in our introduction, we're going to be shedding the light on the state's efforts towards youth empowerment and providing all the means to engage youth in the political and economic sphere. And this is, of course, through rolling out presidential initiatives and under the leadership of President Fattah al-Sisi. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by engineer Mina, Maher, a project manager and a member of the Presidential Leadership Program. A very good morning, engineer Mina, and thank you so much for joining us on the breakfast show.
Good morning, Mr. Karim. I'm really proud to be here in Nile TV.
The pleasure is all ours, sir. Mr. Mina, first of all, if you can tell us, are young people feeling empowered and do they gain the fruits of the efforts made by the Egyptian leaders and decision makers during the past few years, and how?
Of course, actually, I believe that yes, the answer is yes, because now we can find leaders, youth leaders, all over the country in different positions, upper level. They share their experience with, of course, the other leaders, and maybe even we feel that we are going through different era. We propose new ideas to the government, and if they were really well studied, we see them, they are being put into action. So yes, I believe it's a different era actually.
Yes, indeed. So if you can walk us through the efforts made by the state made to empower youth.
Because first things always come first, so let's start with empowering youth by training them. So let's say that the first idea was to gather some youth and make trainings to them, sharing with them different information about how to rule and moderate different sectors in the government. Firstly, if you can remember, in 2016, when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has announced that 2016 is the year of youth. At that time, the Presidential Leadership Program has begun, which is mainly a training program for over 1 year span. We go through different sectors of the government. We check how it's being moderated and what are the challenges facing them, so that we can easily tackle them afterwards. So I think that's what the initial step.
Capacity build.
Exactly, exactly. It's mainly training and knowing more about the government, so that when you are or you become the decision maker, you take the right steps and the right direction for success.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Mina, also, what are the ideas or projects that were among the proposals of the presidential leadership programs for youth, and were they implemented actually on the ground?
The first thing maybe we can say is the National Training Academy, NTA, which has been implemented mainly based on the youth and the batch one, my fellows of PLP had suggested to have an academy for learning and for teaching more fellows, not only PLP members, but also other members all over Africa as well. So it's not only for Egyptians. There are now currently more than 10 or 15 programs being learned or taught over there in the academy. Also, the African Presidential Leadership Program, where other fellows from all over Africa can join the presidential leadership program, and they can I mean, they're being taught and learned a lot about dealing with the government, so that when they come back to their African countries, they know more and they know how to deal with the challenges over there.
And is this done under the umbrella of the African Union?
Yes, definitely, because if you remember 2 years ago, Egypt was the leader of the African
the head
Union.
of the African,
yeah,
yes,
exactly.
presiding over the African
exactly.
Union.
So that's what when exactly. I mean, if we remember together with all the people 7 or 8 years ago, Egypt was not in the African Union, and there was contrast between now and since then. There is, I mean, there is typically very different
Yes,
experience, and here comes Egypt's role as we say, of course, the leader of all Africa.
Yes.
So
and since President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi took the helm of the country, everything has changed to the better. Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
exactly. Also, for I mean, to continue your question about the initiatives and so on. So yes, as well, WIF, World Youth Forum, has made the initiative to gather all people from all over the world to change or share ideas with youth, and even to respect diversity of others. So I think these initiatives has made us really, I mean, welcoming here all the youth all over the world.
Speaking about the World Youth Forum, we have just held the most recent version after a 2-year halt because, of course, the coronavirus pandemic, and that has brought the whole world to a standstill. What were the new initiatives or the new ideas that were raised or brought to the 2022 World Youth Forum?
So let's here mention that the main theme of WIF, World Youth Forum, was back together. So back together after COVID, you know, we were all facing lockdown and so on. So one of the major topics that were discussed over the forum was what's life after the pandemic, after COVID-19.
Yes.
And then maybe one of the other major topics that were discussed as well were the climate change, where Mr. Sisi was, Mr. President Sisi was attending and showing very interest in this topic, because
and especially we're going to be hosting the COP27 in November. In Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a very important topic as well. Of course, many other topics like unemployment, like training even for youth and so on, and empowerment. So these are some of the various topics that were discussed.
Okay. Speaking about the capacity building and the training of youth, after the youth received this training that you have kindly referred to or mentioned on leadership, do they actually feel, as one of those youth, and of course you have received this training, do they actually feel empowered, and to what extent?
Definitely yes, because you know, when you have the chance to discuss different topics with decision makers and so on, as a matter of fact, you will consequently have the ability to be in position to be, for example, deputy governors and so on. Now most of the governorates, maybe more than 20 governorates, have I mean, in the upper level, we have presidential leadership program members side by side with the decision makers, with I mean, so that they can feel what are the challenges that the people can see, I mean, over the street as well, and they can solve them. Maybe we can say out of the box. It's not by just the regular technique.
Also, Mr. Mina, for those youth who are watching us and might be eager to join this program, what are the criteria upon which the youth are chosen to be part of the presidential leadership program, or how can they be part of the program, if you can give them some tips or information?
Let me say that the presidential leadership program has been made for 3 batches till now. The 4th batch has started since Feb 2022, so it's last month. And actually, the process, more than 300,000 person apply for this program. However, they only choose 500 out of 300,000. So it's definitely not easy. However, the criteria is very simple. Being an Egyptian, that's the first part. Being from 20 to 30 years old, because after
that's the range.
Yeah, the age range, yes. And even after 30, you still have the chance, because there is other programs other than the presidential leadership program. As I told you, there is more than 10 or 15 programs in the NTA. However, it's very simple. You go through, if you have just these 2 criteria, you just enter through some exams, and then an interview, and then if you are good enough, you will definitely be accepted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, speaking about the addition to the World Youth Forum program, the participants experienced in each forum, how had they gained or benefited from the one before it? And is the offered program being continuously developed?
Yeah, of course. 2019 was the 3rd edition of WIF, World Youth Forum. However, it was the first edition for Inspired. Inspired is like a platform where different people, I mean successful people, of course, from all over the world, can come and share their experience. For example, if you can remember, in 2019, we had Zain, the young man who faced cancer, more than 50 operations. If you can remember Jessica Cox, without limbs, and she was driving a plane, and even Mr. President Sisi has honored her, I mean, on the stage and so on. So that's for 2019, for example. As I'm telling you, it was the 3rd edition, yet it was the first start for a platform like Inspired. For this year is 2022, it was the 4th edition. However, it was if you can remember the robots, medical robots.
Yes.
They were really helpful and
doing temperature checks and
exactly,
yeah.
and the medical precautions because after COVID the lifestyle had changed.
Yes.
So that was really helpful. So yes, of course, there is definitely continuous development in the program for WIF, so that if someone has joined us a few years ago, he can definitely come again and we'll have a totally new experience.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Mina, in your opinion, what are the, as you have kindly mentioned, the state is exerting relentless efforts to empower youth and also launching campaigns and initiatives that are targeting youth. But what are the main challenges currently facing the Egyptian youth?
Of course, when you are still young, you are just graduated, you may find some challenges like, I mean, financially, for example. Some other people may be unemployed, some other people...
Or it could be choosing a specific career or path.
Exactly. You are always, I mean, you have many options. You don't know exactly where is your right path and what is the fastest route. However, however, being in an environment that helps you to continuously develop, is really something essential. I mean, even if you face any of these challenges, you can always focus on yourself, always focus how to work more or how to train yourself more, so that you are compatible with the work environment.
Mr. Mina, also, what opportunities does youth have when they graduate, speaking about graduation and starting the practical life under the program that you have referred to, and would they be able to join, for instance, political parties, be part of a leadership program, and so on and so forth?
Definitely, yes. It gives you a lot of opportunities. Actually, maybe we are not the ones who go after these. I mean, who go after these positions. Yet, it's always essential, and I mean, the decision makers always see that it's really important to have you in these positions. So yes, as I told you, you can join political parties,
Yes.
you can join the parliament, you can join as a deputy governor.
Yes.
So yes, there is many chances.
Yes. Mr. Mina, as we're wrapping up, I'd like to listen to your closing remarks and a message that you'd like to send.
Actually, let me tell all the youth that being a part of the government and being a part of, I mean, developing now the country is not an option. Yes, it's not our call for, I mean, for all of the Egyptian youth. Yet, by doing small steps in your career, by being successful, I think that will be good and a great opportunity for Egypt to develop more and more during the next few years. And for me, personally, I believe that Egypt will be in a very good place in 5 to 10 years span before 2030. We are going in the right steps and in the right route, and we hope very good and successful future for us and for our little kids afterwards.
Thank you so much, Engineer Mina Maher, Project Manager and Presidential Leadership Program member. Thank you so much for your insight, and thank you so much for being with us on The Breakfast Show.
Thanks, it's my pleasure to be with you.
The pleasure is all ours. Thank you. And dear viewers, now we move on to a short break and then be back to resume the remaining segments of The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International.